not a big fan of the deleted scene in Aliens of the Hadley's Hope before the derelict is discovered, where we see the inhabitants. I think the film works much better when we go there and discover it at the same time as the colonial marines do. The thing I do like about that scene, though, is the vehicles, because in the theatrical cut you just see a bit of a couple of them, but you never see them, and you certainly don't see the Jordan's tractor. All right, but I like them. This style of craft, and the fact that they made it big scale, is really evoking one of the inspirations James Cameron had for Aliens, which is he was very much influenced by Derek Meddings' team working on the Jerry Anderson puppet shows, particularly Thunderbirds, and yeah, that could be a Mike Trim design, couldn't it? So I like them. Not keen on the scene, but I do like them. All right. Now, just lately, you may have seen videos where I've been doing the Aliens board game figures, and they're kind of like 38mm. And yeah, I was just looking around, and lo and behold, it's much like everything now. I mean, I've got it with some of my Star Wars figures for the Star Wars game. People are now 3D printing accessories and miniatures and craft for the games, really just to use it as a bit of interest on the table, right? And I've just bought one, and it's just come, so I'm just opening it up. That's a nice bit of bubble wrap for a future thing. So this is the unboxing, or unwrapping in this case. The seller, who I should have thought of the name of before I started this, did warn me that there's something in here that he forgot to pack, and it's in a separate little bag. So we'll see if we can find that as we go. This was off of eBay. Hang on, I'm going to put the phone down. This was off of this was off of eBay, and so I've only got the photos to go by. So we've got nice. Oh, good. He's labelled out right leg, I suppose, or right left, or something. Let's see what we've got in here. Yeah, that's the cabin. Right, we got the striations. I was hoping they wouldn't be in there, but they are. Out with the filler primer yet again. Looks a bit shiny as well. It's going to need a good wash. But yeah, that's definitely in scale with the Aliens figures. This is going to be a conundrum. What do I do about the windows? Yeah, I think it's hollow. I could cut the bottom out and cut them out and put some clear smoke perspex in, I suppose. And there's the main bit of it. Rather good. Oh, it's a shame about the lines. I was really hoping they wouldn't be too pronounced, but they are. This is the downside. I've said before on 3D printed models. It's great because you get to make things that you normally wouldn't be able to. But oh, shame. Oh, blimey, look at that. But this is going to be down on the ground. You're never going to see that. I'm not going to bother. Oh, there you are. Left, front, right, front, left. That's what that was. Right, left. Or what? Rear left. Oh, blimey. Sorry about this. How embarrassing. Oh, I think, no. Where's the other bag that he was saying about? He says, don't, there it is. That's what he's on about. All right, as usual, take everything out the bags, have a good look. But I think after giving it a good wash and some isopropyl alcohol, it's, I'm not even going to attempt to try sanding this down first. I've got to do the old filler primer spray and go from there. As is usual with all the 3D printed kits that I've made, the first thing I do is give them a good wash in warm soapy water. And that was rather curious because I left them overnight to dry, started having a proper look at them the next morning, and it's like my hands are sticky. My hands have got like washing up liquid. What's going on? What's going on? I got these 3 main bits, put them in a bowl of cold water, put them under, and sure enough, little bubbles started popping up. These are hollow and there's holes in them, and they had filled up with soapy water, and with my handling of them, it was starting to come back out. So what I've done is I've left them a good other day to dry. All right. So here we go. These are all the parts then. It's looking to be a pretty straightforward build. I've been referring back to the eBay sellers page to just work out where all these bits go. And he's contacted me just overnight to say he's had comments from people saying not too clear where things go. So on his eBay listing, he's now put some instruction photos, which is very nice of him. I'll be putting a link to him and his page in the comments or in the description bit just below here. All right. So yeah, it looks pretty straightforward. Basically, you've just got to stick the front on the front, the back at the back. Each of these leg parts, you have a wheel attached there and there, right? The wheels are flat in one point, so obviously that goes down on the ground, and that sticks on there, and that sticks up on there. And as I say, I made sure when I was cleaning them that I didn't rub off the pen marks saying which one goes where. All right, not too much to do in the way of cleanup. Yeah, we've got the striation lines. I can live with that. The Halford's primer filler hopefully is going to take care of a lot of that. Yeah, and then sticking bits on with super glue. I think what I might do with the legs and the wheels is I think I'm going to drill a hole in there and in there and just pin it with a paper clip, and also going from up there into that bit there. All right, I think. So yeah, let's crack on. Looking forward to this. I'm umming and ahhing about whether this is the Jordan's tractor or not. Okay, if it is the Jordan's tractor, I'm not keen on the colour scheme. It's sort of like a very light, creamy white on the underside and a green on the top. I might do this as another tractor that you never see and do it in that lovely, yellow colour. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. I'll look at more of my reference photos about that. But looking at the reference photos, it seems that this is pretty darn accurate. These tanks that are on the side, the area where you're meant to have chevrons and that, they're all there. All right. This is something I'm going to address. The top of the door. I've had this before with this material. It's blooming hard to cut. I've tried gouging out and making that door frame neater, and that's not budging, even with a brand new blade in my scalpel. So I might be putting just a piece of plasticard strip along there just to tidy that up. All right. I've decided I'm not going to cut out the windows. It'd been an awful lot of work. As I say, this is tough old stuff. I'd have to cut that open, remove them, sand it all down, and then get the clear plastic in there. I'd have to do it for them two, that one, and that one in there, which is going to be a right old faff. No, I'm not going to do that. I've got an idea of what I'm going to do about that. All right, I'll come back with, if not all assembled, then partly assembled. All right, I'm off and underway. Quick guest appearance by Ferro there to just gauge, give you an idea of the scale, and yeah, it's pretty much spot on in scale to the Aliens board game figures. So the way I thought I'd go about this is not attach the front cabin or the rear part or any of the bits. So this main section is as light as possible for me sticking on the legs and the wheels. All right. So the first thing I did was stick the legs on, which was dead easy. It glues almost instantly with super glue. So that's good because I've got a nice lot of super glue. And then what I've done is I've drilled the holes like I said I was going to do. I'm a bit worried that if even though the super glue sticks really, really well, over time that might give way, especially once you've got the weight of the body pushing down on the wheels. So what I've done is on each of the axles, I've drilled that out. And then on the inside of the wheel, I've drilled that out. And I'm just using, bog standard coat hanger wire cut down, which is nice and thick and will give me a nice joint. And what I did was I started with this rear right one. You can see I've marked with a pencil there the flat bit. That's just to aid me in the gluing process. So I put that one on, glued that one on, made sure that that was totally flat to the ground, waited for the super glue to go completely hard. And then what I've done is I've come round and on the opposite side, same thing again. All right, it is a bit lopsided at the moment, but I figure if I've got one each side totally flat, putting on the others should be nice and easy. So next step is just continue doing that, put the wheels on, leave it overnight just for the glue to go completely hard and solid. Then I'm sticking on the front, sticking on the back, and then I can start accessorizing. Okay, that's all the wheels are on then, and the front and the back are attached. And I thought I might have to wait a while for the super glue to set, but nope, almost instantly it stuck. Now, the downside of 3D printing, one of the negatives of 3D printing is all these lines, but the material, this resin, this plastic is fantastic with super glue. I'm so used to, with old school resin kits, having to use 2-part epoxy glue, mixing up equal quantities, stirring it, wait for it to start going off, push the two bits together, hold them together, tape them together, and leave them a few hours before you can crack on to the next bit. Here, it's instantaneous. So all ready to go then, all ready to start putting the details on. I can't remember if I've said, but the creator of this, who's selling it on eBay, he's been messaging me a few times, and he said he's had comments from people who have bought this that it's unclear as to where all the different detailing bits go. So he has updated his page for selling this on eBay. There's a couple of additional illustrations on there to show just where they go. So that's going to be useful, and many thanks to him. Okay, that's all the various pieces put on. All went fine. Again, super glue really, really helps. This was a bit of this bell thing on the underside was a bit of a swine to stick, but what I did, the tube at the top locates to a hole, but it won't go in the hole, so I whittled that down so it would go into the hole, and that really helped out. The other issue was the railing at the top here was rather warped, so I had to heat it up in warm water until it was flexible, and then I super glued it down and held it down with blue tack while that was setting. All right, so time for some filler primer, and let's see what it looks like after a couple of coats of that. Looking a bit more substantial now. So I've used up my can of the filler primer. It's done it okay. It's okay. I could get another can and try and get rid of more, but no. It will start covering up detail then and clogging everything up. I'm happy with that. A lot of it I'm going to conceal any lines. This is going to be a very dirty vehicle, so a lot of the blemishes and that I can disguise with the weathering. What's fun about video diaries like this is you know the outcome before I do. I've only just decided that I am going to paint this in the colours of the Jordan tractor as seen in the film. All right. But then you say colours, but what colours? So I'm indebted to the Harry Harris website for these fantastic images. This is the Jordan's tractor that was built for the film, but ended up not being in the film, theatrically anyway, built by Nigel Brady and Jamie Thomas. You can tell from the guy in the background and that very British car that it was quite a whopper of a model. So yeah, colour then, obviously green at the top, but an awful lot of people think of it as being grey at the bottom, all right, and it's not. It seems to be some sort of like tan colour at the bottom, but there's an awful lot of grey weathering, you know, there. Look at all that muck from the from LV 426. So it's sort of like a deck tan at the bottom, a green on the top, and can you see around the doors there? It looks almost orange, but I think that's rust, and I'm pretty sure that's rust. So that's basically what I'm going to be doing. With the size of the original model being so big, I wouldn't be surprised if rattle cans car paints were used. So I've mixed up this creamy colour from Games Workshop Screaming Skull and a bit of Vallejo Ivory to give me the tanny creamy colour. And now the question is going to be what shade of green. I've got a variety of Vallejo and Games Workshop greens. It looks almost like a Thunderbird 2 green, and I don't know if that's a nod to, you know, the Derek Meddings Thunderbird influence on James Cameron with the model work in the film. But it looks like kind of like a Thunderbird 2. I bet it was a car colour. But I'm going to have a look at my selection. I might have to custom do one, all right? But I'll come back when we've got a two-tone affair going on. Okay, turns out in the end I didn't have to mix up a bespoke colour. This is Games Workshop's Warpstone Glow, and that's perfectly fine. That will do, especially when it's been dirtied down and weathered. It's very curious. I've been researching this vehicle more, and I've been watching the deleted scenes, and it's odd because there's discrepancies not only with this model to the actual model, so it's not 100% accurate. A lot of it is, but a lot of it isn't. But there's also other strange things. It's like this thing here, right, which I haven't painted yet. When you see the tractor arriving at Hadley's Hope, it looks like what it looks like there. It's like a dark black grill, like a radiator grill. But then when you see the tractor going off to the derelict, it's got a light inside it. Okay, so I guess they're like protective covers for a light. I never noticed that before. If I can bring in a photo of the actual model itself. All right, this area up here, all this detail here, is not too well represented, but never mind. And also a big question mark is colours. Like, okay, that tank is the same green as the rest of it, That tank seems to be the same creamy tan as the rest of it, so I've matched that, right? But up here, in all the photos I'm looking at on that Harry Harris website and here, these two tanks and this tank here that you can't see too well look to be more of a grey. So I haven't painted those yet. I'm going to do those in a different grey. This dome here in photos looks to be a different colour as well. So I'll be doing that as well. All right. Yeah, I've noticed a couple of times in scenes in the deleted segments that it doesn't look the same each time, and I've just, in the Making of Aliens book, just come across this bit. This is the Jordan's tractor test colour green, Julian Perry says. Later seen again driving into the colony complex as orange and white, driving by the blast door. Okay, Nigel Brackley remembers Paul McClung putting soap liquid in with a paint to prove its colours could be easily changed easily. Right, so there were two different versions, and I don't know if they changed details as they went. But this is a nice clear photo, and I can see that the light assembly at the top, I'm not sure, it's not green on the front, but it might be green on the side. So I've got to decide what I'm doing with that. This thing, which a lot of people paint in yellow and black chevrons, isn't. This bit down here is definitely a chevron thing, but it's so covered with muck you can barely see it. All right. So yeah, I'm pottering along. That looks like a G, doesn't it? Or a 0. So I have to see if I've got a decal. Mind you, the uneven surface, I don't think a decal's going to really adhere very well. The other thing that I noticed when watching the deleted scene is I thought that was a window. All right, it's not. It's some sort of like port or something, and it seems to be metallic or black in there. And you've got the one solitary window. If you watch the deleted scene, when the Jordans are getting out the tractor, the full size version, this front is completely different. You've got two windows. This bit is completely gone. All right. Yeah, just thought I'd point that out. So, all right. So the next thing to do is start putting washes on this and toning it all down, because it is very toy-like at the moment. Ordinarily, I would put maybe Games Workshop's Nuln Oil or Agrax Earthshade watered down over it, but that's going to dry glossy, and I don't want this to be glossy, so I'm going to have to think of a different way. Artificial light now because it's such a grotty day out there, but it's starting to break up the colours now. So the wash is on. So this is it's a mix of two colours. It's black and raw umber for the underside mixed together. There was more black in the mix up here and more raw umber down there, and that's stained it nicely. That is good. Excuse me. What I've done is I've blocked in the metallics where needed. I've gone for a light grey for these, the blob and that one, and I'm putting in white where there's going to be other colours. So this claw arm is going to be red. We've got a yellow panel here. That's going to be like a brake light. Yeah, this panel is going to be a grey. We've got red bands. We've got a yellow band. So it's coming along. Soon I'll be able to start putting colours on top of the whites. I've got to put Nuln Oil in all the metallics, and then I'll be going along doing the odd bit of tighter weathering in places, just neaten it all up before doing the bit that I'm really looking forward to, which is putting all the mud, the LV426 grey muck everywhere. Okay, that's broken things up nicely with the different colours. You have to look carefully, but yeah, there is information out there about the colour bands which are on the tanks. We've got red down here, red here. We've got yellow and red here. I've just blocked those in. I'm going to highlight them and weather them a bit. This area here, right, which I thought I thought these were like windows. They're not. When you see it like this angle going in at the beginning of the Hadley's Hope scene, they look to be some sort of like metal shutters. So I've kind of like represented that there. Just going around tidying up the old paint jobs and things. This, I don't know whether it's orange or it's gold. I'm going to do it sort of like a goldy brassy colour. Put the red on the rear. Block that out ready for the red light. This is a side light. I've done that silver. Pick these out in silver, ready for the clear paints. As I say, just tied in all the paint jobs up now. Once the weathering's on, you're not going to see anything really. I've got to weather that. Down here, it's really hard to tell, but it looks like there's an orange with black chevrons thing there. The kit doesn't allow for that. I've had to go over the vertical line that's there because it's pretty much 3/4 of the width of the window. All right, so that's in. I've got to put the chevrons on there. I've got to put the black for the tires, and then I've got to address the situation of what I'm going to do regarding the windows. All right, so I will return once all that is done, apart from the final finishing off of the windows. Apologies for the light quality today. It's just after 3, but we're heading into winter, so it's getting really dark outside, so the light is strange today. So yeah, this isn't exactly representative of how it actually looks. Hopefully later on in this video you'll see better. So that's the colours finished. I've just been highlighting the claw arm here. There's a crude attempt at a chevron thing, but this is going to be covered with muck, so you're barely going to see any of that, much like in the stills. I've just got to tidy up the bit around the red rear light. Okay. Speaking of lights, I've done the orange and the red there. You can't really tell at the moment, but that they are glossy. All right, it's coming out really bad. You can still see, that I've still got to do some touching up in this area. I'd forgotten that this is a light, so I'm in the middle of painting that silver. And oh yeah, again, chevrons there. I haven't been too I'm going to do a bit of tidying up on it, but I'm not too fussy about it because it's going to be plastered in muck soon. And yeah, the windows. The person who sells this on eBay paints these as if they are reflecting colours and lights, which is nifty, but I can't be asked. So first stage in this is to paint them, all the windows, a grey. Again, just got to tidy all this up where I've been. I think I'm going to leave that off till last. The next step, once I've tidied all the little painty areas, is that a phrase, painty areas, is to start on the weathering, which is the bit I'm really looking forward to. Before chucking a load of, oh, by the way, the wheels, as you can see, are black. Before chucking a load of muck at it, I'm going to do the rusty parts first, and that's what I'm looking forward to, and that's what I'll be doing next. When I come back, this is going to have a distinctly orange look to it. Ordinarily, when I've reached this stage of rustiness, I'm just about ready to call it a day, all right? But I'm not, because with this craft, of course, you've got all the muck and the clag and the mud of the LV426, which smothers the wheels, the legs, and this whole underside area up to about there, right? And I've got to represent that. And for it, I'm going to be using this stuff, all right, which I've never tried before. It's a grey ground texture that you can splodge on, and I've seen people using it, and it looks like this will be the way to go. Apparently you can mix it with other paints, so this might be a bit light. I might have to darken it down. I've got to start experimenting, and I think what I'm going to do is start at the bottom and work my way up. That's why this is deliberately unfinished, because, as I say, the splatters come up to about here. You'll see that all along. I've done it up here, but I haven't done it down there, right? And it's the same around the other side as well. This is really quite bare, but that's going to be covered with the muck. Here, it's going to be covered with the muck, all right? Up here, it's not so much, all right? So let's give it a go. I'm going to crack on. I think I'm going to start on light up near the top and build it up thicker the nearer I get to the ground. So this is peculiar stuff. It's sort of like a very wet, runny rice pudding. It's like this grey paste with bits in, which I've started applying to the underside. But the problem is it's a light grey and it goes on translucent. So I couldn't use it just out of the pot like that. So what I did was I just splodged some light grey and dark grey in this old tub and with some of the stuff, and just randomly put my brush in it, and that's worked. I tried it out on the underside, figuring if I cocked it up then it won't be too apparent, but no, this is exactly the sort of clayey, mucky muck that I'm after. So yeah, I've done the underside. Now I'm going to start working up all the way around, as I say, to about there, all the way around. All right. So yeah, this is the last video before I come back with it all done. And there we go, all done with some of the Alien board game miniatures to show that, yeah, this has been done in scale to them. I think they're 38mm. There we go. So let's show them off. I haven't been slavishly accurate in the slop that I've put on. I'm very pleased with this this Vallejo stuff, but yeah, you do have to mix it with a paint. And I also like the finish of it is gloss or semi-gloss, so it really does look like the clayey sort of cruddy muck that I was after. Yeah, not 100% accurate, but the model itself isn't 100% accurate. I said before about all up here is not quite right. So I haven't slavishly followed the muck. I've gone halfway up here like it is and pretty much enclosed the whole of the front bit there. As you can see on the rung of the ladder, and with the rust over here, I try and let some of the colour still show through. If I did it all in this stuff, it would look like it had a grey underside, which it hasn't. So again, here I've tried to emulate the reference photos from the Harry Harris website. You know, this chevron orange grid is pretty much completely obscured. And then on here, again, I went my own way down in here and that, but yeah. So it's not a bad match, I don't think. And again, yeah, just up on here, this is how it was. So very happy with this. I think I'm going to have more off of the fella. I think the next thing I'm going to do is get the APC, because in the game that these figures are for, you get a card template layout of the APC, whereas he does a model of it exactly the same scale to be used. So I think that's the next one, and so keep an eye out for that.